morning, and welcome to Off the Shelf. For the next 30 minutes, we'll explore what's going on at your Delaware area library. Here's George Needham and Nicole Fowles.
Good morning, Delaware. It's a great day, and we are delighted to be here with you from the Delaware County District Library. Good morning, Nicole.
Hello, George.
And we want to welcome our guest, Julie Miller, who is the assistant executive specialist on everything, basically.
She runs the library.
She runs the library, right? Yep, she's the person who, when you don't know who to ask, you ask Julie.
Yep,
when you need something done, you ask Julie. When you need a little history, you ask Julie. When you want to know, should I do this? You ask Julie.
When you say, can I spend this money? You ask Julie.
Right, yeah. And then Angela signs off on it. Right.
Yeah.
Angela's our clerk treasurer, finance officer. Oh my God, I just slipped back in 1980s terminology. Clerk treasurer is the old title. Yes, it's actually finance officer.
Is it finance officer?
The official title is,
oh,
yes.
Gotcha.
So anyway.
Do that.
So, boy, talk about inside baseball. So, Nicole, what you up to these days? What you reading? What you watching? What you listening to?
I'm not reading anything.
I know you've had a sick kid, so you don't have time to read anything.
I've had a sick baby. All I've been able to watch this past week has been Dora the Explorer and Little Einstein.
Oh, heart goes out to you.
It's been difficult. I think out of the 40 hours that hasn't going to encompass this week, about 15 of them have been home with my sick baby watching Dora. So I have picked up some DVDs from the library to take home for me. So when I put her to bed at like 6, I mean, she is going to bed at 6 o'clock tonight.
One sick kid, yeah.
I know. I'm going to put on, I've got a bunch of the Golden Globe Award winners, the Academy Award winners. Every time the list comes out of the nominees, I always, if the movies are already on DVD, I automatically go straight onto our website and put my request in. And even when I do that as fast as I can, I'm still end up like 40th in line. And I'll just tell you, public, I don't have any special precedent. Being a staff member, I don't get to jump to the first of the line. So if you know that a movie's coming out and you get on there and you request it at the right time, then you'll probably be ahead of most of other people. So some of the ones that I have Brooklyn, that features Cesare. I can't say her name.
It's like Shorsha.
Ronan.
Like yeah.
I'm the worst. Anyway,
any of those Gaelic. It took me a long time to just figure out how to pronounce Sinead
O'Connor.
Yeah, so I could do her first name. I couldn't do O'Connor.
I think you're right. I think it's like Sorsay.
Yeah,
Sorsay Ronan.
Like
yeah. Anyway, beautiful story. Is called Brooklyn. The other one that was another award nominee was Carol, featuring Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. And then this one I don't think was an award winner at all, but I love Bradley Cooper. He is beautiful. Who doesn't love Bradley Cooper? And this one must not have done very well at the box office because I had never heard of it. It's called Burnt. He's a chef, and he says his chef Adam Jones had it all and lost it, and he earned a bunch of stars and then cared about how everything tasted, and basically there's going to be food and love and Bradley Cooper. I mean, what else do you really need to know about the movie?
Is that the one where he leaves his restaurant and gets a food truck and goes, or am I thinking of a different movie?
That sounds like it could be right.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I told you all it's been is Dora.
I saw a few trailers of that one, but
yeah. So, I mean, I always love our DVD section at the library. If you have the patience to go online and request it and wait until it's your turn, you won't be waiting very long for them at all. I know that our circulation manager, who does a lot of the ordering, tries never to have you wait more than 4 people in line. So if we have a big bestseller that's coming and she anticipates that 200 people will want it, then she's going to order about 50 copies of it so that you're 1 in 4.
Right.
And, 1 in 4 to get it.
And then people ask, what do you do when you've got all those copies? And what happens is they go to the Friends of the Library after the demand is over. And in fact, we've got a big Friends of the Library bargain book sale coming up, which we can talk about in the second half of the show. But we do get questions about that because we do try to buy for demand. And sometimes that means you get a lot of them left after the big rush is over for them. So, but the Friends of the Library help us out by helping with the summer reading program and other kinds of activities. So it all works out really nicely. So. Yeah, I have to say, my movie debut is coming out this weekend.
What is your movie debut?
I was an extra in the John Travolta movie that was filmed here last summer. I Am Wrath.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
and it opens in, I guess, in New York and Los Angeles next week, or this weekend. And so as soon as it opens here, I'll find out if I made it into the final movie.
Right.
I was in one scene on the State House lawn with Christopher Maroney, who is also in this with John Travolta, and it was the governor making a speech to be reelected, who apparently let the water get bad in Ohio. And John Travolta's wife, his character's wife, died, and he can't get any justice. So he is Wrath, apparently. I haven't seen the movie, and that's all I know about it. So
Nice.
But yeah, so this scene was filmed out on the State House lawn. It was a beautiful day in March or April last year, and then I heard nothing about the movie until last week when I saw it was going to open this weekend. So.
Right. Well, that was how it was whenever they did the Long Lost Family shoot here in Delaware.
Right.
They came, and it was a big to-do, and we were all excited about it. And then I was like, okay, and that was September, and we said, well, when are we going to hear from you? And they said, you'll start seeing previews sometime next year. And then all of a sudden, the first week of March, people are like, oh, hey, wasn't that show going to be on sometime soon? And I went on TLC, and it was debuting the following week. So there we go.
So much for notice.
Exactly right. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's easy to make the promises.
Yeah.
So in addition to being the administrative specialist for the Delaware County District Library, I think that's your right title, isn't it?
Administrative specialist.
Right.
Correct.
You're also just started a new gig with the Chamber of Commerce.
I did. I'm now their program director for the Safety Council.
This is an
Delaware.
overachiever lady, I can tell you. So anyway, I asked you before, so I feel comfortable asking you now. What are you reading these days?
I am actually listening to a historical fiction with some fantasy sci-fi thrown in.
Fun.
Called Shadow of Night. It is the second book of the All Souls trilogy. And of course, it has a vampire and a witch. And
Are there any books that aren't part of a trilogy or a five
vampire.
set or 7 book sets?
I like that. It keeps me focused on what I'm reading next. So I don't have to go on a quest to decide what else is next.
I don't know what I'm complaining about. I read the same detectives every time a new book comes out, so that's.
You kind of get stuck on the
You do,
authors
yes.
or the genre or whatever it is. But this is a neat one. It's about a witch who is a descendant of the first Salem witch that was hung. And she's Bridget Bishop. Of course, it is fictional, so. But I did go online, and actually, that is the name of the first witch that was executed.
So there's a little bit of proper history
There is
included
some.
in
It
there.
is truly a historical fiction.
Yeah.
I think Joyce
So-
just finished reading the first book in this series,
Oh.
and actually, she's descended from one of the witches who was hanged at Salem.
No.
Her mom's family actually was an original New England family, the Cradocks. They came over in the Mayflower, and one of her ancestors was Sarah Good, who was one of the witches who was executed at Salem. So
Oh, that is
we
fun.
were
Yeah,
there a
that's
few years ago, and it was kind of.
Did she feel connected to her ancestors?
She did.
You could feel it in
She
the
feels
ground.
connected to her ancestors a lot.
I wouldn't want to feel that connection.
Well, Joyce has decided that she's going to be like Maris or the wife of what's his name on Cheers, the one that's always talked about but never actually seen in the show. Anyway, so that sounds like that's the second book of the series.
It is the second book. The first one is called A Discovery of Witches.
Right.
Heard of that one?
She just read that.
Yeah, and it's by Deborah Harkness.
Okay.
So those are there, and there's audiobooks, and I believe we even have it in an ebook too. So it's pretty neat. It's popular though, so you have to get on hold for it.
So I just finished the biography of Jim Croce we were talking about. I finished that the other day, and I also read one that I picked up at the Public Library Association convention that I attended last week. But what's been big this week is yesterday, or actually it was Wednesday, I attended the Ohio Library Council, which is the statewide trade association for libraries, its annual legislative day in Columbus. So I got to visit with Representative Andrew Brenner, and I also visited the offices of Representative Maggie Rule and of Senator Jordan. And we got to drop off some interesting information. The Ohio Library Council, which is a very active organization, does public awareness, also has a lobbyist on staff to support libraries. And they actually went out to get a CPA firm, Howard Fleeter and Associates, who did some research on the use of libraries in the state of Ohio. And they compared Ohio's public library usage with the rest of the country. And as it turns out, Ohio has the highest number of library transactions per capita in the country. And we use library materials and services at a rate that's more than twice the national average.
That's amazing.
It really is great. And we rank first nationally in the number of library visits per capita, 7.5 visits per person per year. I think Delaware, we're actually a little higher than that, if I remember from
Ooh,
our
all the
state
smart people are
statistics.
here.
Right.
Exactly, right. Ohio has the second highest percentage of registered borrowers in the state, in the country. So we have 77.7% of the population has a card.
That's huge.
We're only second to Minnesota. And after all, what else is there to do in Minnesota? And finally, with all of that, we're in the top 10 as far as the lowest cost per transaction in the country. So we're not only doing a lot of transactions, we're keeping the costs down. So we brought these statistics to the attention of the senators and representatives. They were very, I think, impressed because in Ohio, and most states, a big chunk of the money comes from the state. And it's not, it used to be almost all of the library funding, but now it's a smaller percentage. For us, it's about a quarter of our funding comes from that. Some of the other libraries, it can be as high as 50 or 75%. And so we have to constantly keep reminding the legislators of this, because without that, a lot of libraries would be in a lot of trouble in the state. They've been very generous over the years. Part of the reason why Ohio does so well in all these surveys is because we're funded pretty well. And with that kind of support, you just can't beat. So we were in Columbus. This is not a budget year, so we weren't asking for anything. We were just basically saying thank you for the support that you've given us, and this is the results you get. So we have 251 public libraries in the state. Which is a little, there's more than one per county. We have actually 4 public libraries that serve, and we had Chauncey Montgomery and Jane Horn from Ashley here a couple of weeks ago on the show. But Franklin County has 7, Cuyahoga County has 8, I think. Although Hamilton County, Cincinnati only has 1.
It's just Cincinnati that takes over the county.
Yep, right. But 9 million people have cards in Ohio, which is incredible. 20 million Ohioans use public library computers. 20 million uses of public library computers last year. 1 million people participated in summer reading programs, kids and adults. So it's a really active library community in Ohio, and we did want to say thanks to the legislators for making that possible.
And so was everyone down there wearing their blue shirts and showing their library support?
We were indeed. We were requested to wear blue, which was really kind of important because there were 3 or 4 other big organizations. It was their legislative days too, the Ohio Trucking Association and a couple of other groups. So we were kind of crisscrossing, and you'd see a group of 5 or 6 people come out of the senator's office, then we'd go walking in, and there'd be another group waiting to meet with the aides after we were done. And the restaurants were all packed downtown. So,
Right.
But it was a good chance to actually hear what we're doing in Ohio, kind of statewide, because we all pretty much know what we're doing here in Delaware County District Library, and I touch base with Chauncey and Jane a lot just to see how they're doing. But to get that kind of big statewide picture is something you don't get very often. So it was a real pleasure, and I want to thank the friends at the Ohio Library Council for making all that possible. And when we come back, we will be talking about something else that's kind of unique to the U.S., and that's volunteerism, because one of the things that Julie does for the Delaware County District Library is manage our volunteer program. So we'll be right back after this break.
You are listening to